Any moment now. You'll hear my audio for a second until I get a chance to mute it. And any moment now. There we go. Right, muted. Amazing. Let's just lose that window. Cool. We are live. Please do not swear.
Fuck.
Ah, cunt. Right. Oh, that's going to annoy my OCD. Ah, no. God. Do you hate it? Like with Windows, when you're moving Windows and you've got something like in a column on the screen, and then you take it so it fills up the whole screen down one side, and then it basically just then fills the entire screen.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck off. I don't want that. If I wanted you to fill the whole screen, I would click on the big square.
And especially when you're like over two screens. It has more.
Three in my case, but yeah.
Get you. Why are you doing that?
I don't know. Why are you doing that?
Hi, Owen. I knew he'd be in. Working.
Of course he is.
Working.
You've got a crown next to your name, Owen. It says 25 XP. You're a top fan.
25 XP. Does he like get some boost or something?
Oh, is that the name of Windows Next operating system?
I've got 0 XP. How does that work?
I don't know. You obviously don't comment enough.
How do I... What? No, it mustn't be. Why are you doing that? There we go.
What are you doing?
Well, it was trying to... I lost the F1 results. Where's the F1 results? Because I need those, because fuck knows where anyone was, because it was like so topsy-turvy.
It was an interesting one.
Is Owen here?
Yeah, he's on there.
Oh, there he is.
We don't want to know about your purple crown, Owen.
I get a nice purple crown.
You're a #1 fan. Tom Downey. Be ashamed. Yeah. Well, you've literally never commented on this channel as Skycloth TV and Film.
No, but it's the same one. It's still Carl. It's just I've renamed it because I've been putting up stuff for my films.
Oh, okay.
It's the same channel. Nothing's changed.
I don't know.
I've just now put my trailers. Go and watch my trailers on Skycloth TV and Film.
George is there as well, and he doesn't get a purple crown either. Sorry.
No crown for you.
Oh, apparently he's 50 XP now, right? Oh, George is 25 XP, and now you're 25 XP.
XP.
Woo. This must be a new thing.
I want XP. You've been sending too many messages. Take a break. Try again.
You've been banned off your own podcast.
Banned off my own podcast. I've sent too many messages.
Oh my god. Right. Okay. I think on that note, let's start the podcast.
How is Owen still #1?
Max Verstappen has taken the checkered flag to win. That was absolutely brilliant. No, Sergio Perez is giving it everything. Oh no, Max, that was so not right. Goes Leclerc, through goes Hamilton. Unbelievable stuff. And into each other goes Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez.
Bottas took out both their controls.
And at the back, that's George Russell out of this race. Daniel Ricciardo makes contact there with Kevin Magnussen, and there's a second contact.
How am I only on 75 XP? For fuck's sakes.
Well, we're having a lovely time here.
Sorry.
We've gone onto the YouTube chat, and there's some purple crowns have appeared, and then we're having a competition. Owain and Carl are just spamming each other, trying to get their XP up. I don't know how it applies, but yeah. So we've now got Owain leading the way as top fan with 75 XP. Carl's been banned from his own podcast because he's been spamming it too much. So they said, take a break, stop commenting. I wish I could say that during the podcast.
Anyway,
take a break, Carl.
Welcome to your bedroom, Tom.
Yes, well. And the spare room.
I've moved my office because I've now got Spanish students coming, which now means I've got kids in my room for the next 2 weeks. And so I've been relegated to the spare room, but it does look like a weird, do you know what this looks like? It looks like that spicy content type place.
Yeah.
You know,
You just need a red light.
bare room with a bed. I've got lights around my bed, but you can't really see them. But there's lights on around the bed. But yeah, it's some sort of weird boudoir. So yeah, with our lovely greeny blue painted walls.
I do have that behind the headboard in my bedroom. I just say a word, turn on the boudoir, and then the back of the bed lights up pink.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't even want to know about yours and Emily's boudoir shenanigans.
It used to be that you would do that, and then
William II will make an appearance.
It used to be you'd say that, and then the lights would come on, and then the little Echo Dot next to my bed would start playing a Barry White song.
Oh dear God!
It was just for comedy. It was just for comedy value.
Why can't I get any more than 75 XP? That's really annoying me. Anyway, hello, welcome to the podcast.
Oh yeah, so this Formula One cotter.
We didn't do one in Austria, but yeah.
No, we didn't. We planned to, and then I think we were both too busy, and then just didn't even bother.
I've had a mad time. I've been in America. My kid's broken his elbow. We had a vomiting bud that went throughout the house, which I won't go into. So it's been a bit of a mad. And then Tom's been doing a show, which shockingly he's on show week this week and managing to be around. So.
Yeah, well, I'm off work, and the show doesn't actually start until Thursday, so it's fine. I'm doing another show at school, but I'm only needed in the evenings for that, so I've got a bit of time. So yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's been a good one. Been 2 wins for Lando. We get that one out, so in there twice.
Sorry, are we podcasting on a Lando win?
We are. It doesn't happen often.
No.
Normally, when Lando wins, we normally miss it.
He probably shouldn't have won, but we won't. We're going to that.
I mean, yeah, we will definitely go into that. We may as well start with that. The flashpoint. I mean, when it happened, the braking under the safety car, my instant thought was, I'm being biased here because I'm a Lando fan, but that to me seems fair. I thought at the time that seemed too over the line. The fact that he did it on lap 17 and lap 21, but 21 was pretty egregious. I thought, do you know what? I thought that might have ended up being a 5-second penalty. But then I remembered that the 10-second penalty is the standard. 5 is only if there's mitigating circumstances. And given how bad the visibility was, it seemed fair enough to me.
Yeah, sorry, it was fair enough. And it's in the rules. Can't deny that,
Yeah, and in the same way...
Oh, how come Verstappen got a 10-second penalty for smashing into, Hulk smashing into Russell in Austria? And I was just like, was it Austria? Can't remember now.
It was Antonelli into Verstappen.
No, Antonelli into Verstappen.
That was the 3-place grid drop for Antonelli, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's just like, but it's in the rules, and there's other things that aren't in the rules, and they have to make up the penalties, and there's things that are black and white in the rules.
Yeah, I feel bad for Oscar on a human level for him losing a win like that. But when he came over the radio to say, if you think it's unfair, we'll just switch back. The team were never going to do that.
That is bollocks anyway, and it makes why would the team give a flying fuck on that one?
The fact is he's
losing. It'd be different if Verstappen was number 1, and the extra points would mean that Piastri gets to number 1, But currently, it's the 2 of them, and it's the end of that.
Yeah, it's 2 teammates fighting out, and it's not as if those if Lando and Piastri had a battle, which was 50-50, but then Piastri came out of it getting a penalty.
Yeah,
you can maybe say, well, look, they were fighting each other. It was fair racing. Let's just even the score.
Yeah,
we don't think anyone's to blame, but the stewards have deemed otherwise. But equally, even that wouldn't quite sit right with me if they did that, no matter who it was. And I just felt that Lando didn't make any mistakes, and you could say the tiniest little misjudgment, and the stewards have ruled something thusly has led to him losing that result. Now, think back, just the first thing that comes to mind was was it Qatar last year? Yeah. Lando was winning. Was comfortably, well, not comfortably ahead of Verstappen, but easily, looking decent ahead of Verstappen. And then he didn't brake hard enough for didn't brake for a yellow flag. He didn't see it. But again, it was an error. Now he lost a race win for that. More than that, he got put out of the points, I think, and fought back to 1 or 2 points. That was a huge penalty for something that in reality was a breach of the rules, but didn't affect anyone, wasn't particularly dangerous. The track was clear. It just, the yellow flag was there. He didn't see it, and then he made an error. Now, that was what, a 10-second stop and go penalty, I think, wasn't it? It was a huge penalty for something that was a tiny misjudgment, but with a letter of the law, that's correct.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to go into like the amount of pressure that Piastri put on this brake pedal and stuff. If you want detailed analysis like that, then go and watch the Grid Talk review, because Owain does a great job going into that. So that's fine. X bars at 60 bars of brake pro, whatever. Yeah, he stamped on the brake pedal. Look, he broke hard. Owain, if you want to put it in the chat, feel free.
Well, he did. He fucking did. We all saw that. But it is what it is. And he did brake too hard. And,
like I say, on a human level, I feel sorry for Piastri. But
and sorry, that is the reason that penalty is as harsh as it is, because it's fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
If you did that racing, if you did that racing and you broke test someone as hard as he did, while racing, that could have been catastrophic. So yes, it's under a safety car and they are all going slower, but that's the reason for the penalty, and get over yourself. But on pace, and had he not been a fucking idiot, and that's not how Formula One works, but had Piastri not been a fucking idiot, he won that race.
Yeah,
by a country mile. Piastri had more pace and was faster.
I do think it would have been closer at the end, because I think Piastri's car was better in the rain. But as you saw, as it started to dry up in both spells, when it started to dry up, Lando was closing in, and I do think that towards the end of the race, it would have been a lot closer. Norris was, whenever Piastri got closer in the final stages, once he got to within 5 seconds, Norris would just pull out a gap again. I think once he got into clear air, because Piastri had clear air for the entire Grand Prix.
Norris sat back, and once he got that penalty, Norris sat back. He wasn't fighting. He was never going to fight Piastri.
Before the penalty, he got right up to 1.2 seconds behind.
Yeah.
But then he had to do that because he knew that Piastri was going to get the first pit stop. And let's be honest, if he was more than, if he was about 10 seconds back from Piastri, they'd have double stacked. They'd have pitted them both on the same lap, then he's lost his chance to pass him. So he held back, and then he closed in as they got nearer to the pit stop phase to make sure he was as close as possible. And then when Piastri went in, he could then still have some tyre life and really try and pull out as much of a gap as possible to negate that undercut. And then once he did that, he came out, 5-6 seconds ahead of Piastri. So Piastri gained 4 seconds in the pits because of having the undercut. So McLaren played it as fair as they could.
There was no reason for Norris to speed off once he knew he was ahead of Piastri, Hulkenberg. As long as he stayed ahead of Hulkenberg and he was within 10 seconds of Piastri, they were like, he might as well just sit in clean air and not actually just ruin himself trying to chase Piastri down the track. So
it was unfortunate.
The timings look odd, but
it was unfortunate for Piastri, but I feel that
it was self-inflicted.
Norris deserved to win the race. Now, I don't correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Norris went off track at any point. Piastri did, and then Piastri made the minor error as well.
I think everyone
he
went off track, but he didn't majorly go off track. He just went wide.
I don't think he went off track at all.
I think he went wide.
Did he?
Yeah,
he may,
not like majorly. It was just like he just missed the corners.
You had Hamilton, Leclerc, Piastri, Verstappen, loads of people going off left, right, and centre, and the top three were pretty much the cleanest on track. They were the ones who didn't make the mistakes. I don't think Lance Stroll made the mistakes, actually. He just, lucked into one strategy and then reverted back to type towards the end of the race. Gasly did well, actually. I remember.
Right, so let's go to this with Hulkenberg.
Yeah. Hulkenberg, fantastic. I was so torn. I really wanted Hamilton to get that podium for Ferrari.
So were we. Laura and I were like, but Hulk. I was like, actually, I don't mind Hulk winning this. I don't really I'm not going to, and there's no British bias on this one. The fact that a German managed to get third. But Hulk was, from 19 to third. That's impressive in any race. Do you know what I mean?
Especially for your first podium as well.
And 19 third. If Verstappen did 19 to third, we'd all still be like, that's fucking good, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean that Sauber has been improved massively, and it's looking.
And what is that? Is that because Jonathan Wheatley and Bonetto, whatever his name is there?
Bonotto. Oh, I think my headphones are running out of battery. That's weird. Okay, I might just have to plug this in. But yeah, I think it's a combination of lots of things. But yeah, Wheatley is definitely a.
And what is Wheatley officially technical?
What is he? He's
What is
I can't
Jonathan
remember
Wheatley?
what is right. I find exactly what you
I'm gonna
Google his
Google
actual
it.
role
I'm going
while
to
I plug my
Google
headphones
what
in.
Jonathan Wheatley
You,
is.
you can fill while I plug my headphones in.
Because he's ex Red Bull, I know that much. He is a British mechanic, according to Google. Brilliant. What the fuck does that mean?
Whatever you just said, I completely disagree with.
Jonathan Wheatley is a British mechanic.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's.
Yeah, no, he was. So he was head of sporting director at Red Bull, and now he is team principal. Or
so yeah, inaugural.
It's team principal and Bonotto is Bonotto CEO, I think, or something like that, or maybe chief technical officer. Can't remember. But yeah.
No, sorry. Chief Operating and Technical Officer Matteo Bonotto serves as team principal. So I think is Wheatley above Bonotto?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I can't remember. But either way,
was expected to join Sauber as their inaugural principal ahead of 2026 campaign.
I think he is team principal. I'm sure Bonotto is technical officer.
January.
Who knows? If anyone knows, put it in the chat.
Team principal of Sauber on the 1st of April, 3 days before the Japanese Grand Prix. During this period, Chief Operating and Technical Officer Matteo Bonotto served as team principal. So so
he was interim.
Is above Bonotto.
Yes, will be then. Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, so he's obviously bringing in a lot of processes from Red Bull, and that's what was it always said about Sauber, how operationally weak they are. That has completely changed with this Bonotto and Wheatley partnership. That has definitely improved tenfold.
I mean, it's interesting.
They are now operating. They're now operating at a peak level. Their pit stops. Remember the 15, 20-second pit stops from last year?
Was this the Bottas pit stops that were like?
Yeah, but now and Joe as well. They were having terrible pit stops, 20 seconds to change. But
also, they've got a better driver lineup this year.
Well, yeah. I would argue, I would say it's at least the same.
Sorry, Bottas is grand. Who did they have? Joe. I think. What's his name?
Yeah, Bortoletto's still a rookie though, isn't he? So
yeah, and
I think Bortoletto now is probably at peak Joe. So yeah, you probably are right. It probably is a slightly improved driver lineup.
I didn't really like Bortoletto originally, but I think it's actually, it was a bad day to be a rookie.
But yeah, absolutely. Behrman, the only rookie to finish, but even he had some adventures. Antonelli, not at fault for his.
I don't know how he fucking ended up in 11th after all his adventures off track.
Well, I think just right. I mean, you look at people behind him. Leclerc, who was rallying the entire race.
What was going on with him?
Obviously, Ocon got more affected by his collision with Behrman than Behrman did. Tsunoda. What the only driver to finish the race a lap down. Let's not even touch on that. Don't know what happened.
No, let's touch on that. Let's go on to we'll come back to Ferrari. We'll circle back. Let's Red Bull. What the fuck is that disaster zone at the moment? Because they cannot work out which way.
I swear they're not even bothering with the second car.
It's. I mean, as Ted said. Who surprisingly wasn't in the F1 movie, but which I can't talk about the F1 movie.
No, you're not. I'm watching it after this podcast. I'm going to watch it after this podcast.
Where are you seeing it? Are you seeing it in Bracker's?
Showcase.
Oh, nice.
I think, probably.
It's got better sounds. Yeah, the soundtrack to it is amazing. That's all I can say. Not the soundtrack, the soundscape is amazing.
And I imagined it would be, yeah.
I saw it in the back end of Kerry Cinema, and it was still amazing then. So, the sound's amazing on it. The sound and visuals are stunning.
I expected
that. But don't go. Sorry, I'm really going on a tangent. All I can say is Magnussen. Anyone that's seen it will understand what I mean.
Okay.
It's just random. Anyway, Mr. Red Bull are not doing anything. And they're not even doing anything with the first car. Let's be honest.
I think their strategy was very much dependent on the track being dry. Like it was, we're nowhere. We've got to do something. Let's give Max as much straight line speed as possible. Hope that he can deal with it in qualifying, and then if the race stays dry, because he's got a straight line speed advantage, he'll be very difficult to pass.
Yeah, they had so much.
It's a completely valid strategy. Leclerc pulled that strategy off a few years ago and did it brilliantly. Like Leclerc and Sainz both. That may have even been the race where Sainz won. Actually, I could be wrong on that. The famous quote: "Through goes Hamilton," and then like 2 corners later, he loses both positions. He's just going. Yeah. I mean, I can't talk. It's in our title sequence, but yeah, it's a valid strategy, and it's a let's do what we can to try and get up front and stay there.
Yeah.
It was always going to be bad on tyre wear. It was always going to be bad on in the wet. So those 2 things transpired. And then as a result, you saw so many times Verstappen was sideways coming out of Beckett's going into the hangar straight.
Yeah.
You just, every time
he was really rally crossing at some point.
Yeah. He drove phenomenally well, but he did make 3 driver errors where he was asking too much of the car. One, ironically, now here's a lovely not conspiracy theory, but ironically, the time when he went off track and Norris got ahead of him, but then Verstappen got him back at the pit stops, that may have won Lando Norris the race. Because if it's Norris alongside Piastri, maybe Piastri doesn't brake quite so hard for that restart, doesn't get the penalty, and they finish 1-2.
Yeah.
I mean, it did finish 1-2 anyway, but in the other order. It's very possible. I mean, Piastri might have done the same thing anyway. It's possible. But yeah.
Surely something's going to have to happen in Red Bull, and there's obviously talk about this, and I'm sure we'll get into it as well about Verstappen's moving and all the rumors of this. I mean, silly season started and we haven't really started it yet.
Yeah,
but the rumor mill of silly season, Verstappen is possibly moving to Merc, possibly. That releases Russell because they've put too much into Antonelli. Now, but if Verstappen goes into Merc, he's not going to have the same control.
Oh, no, I think it would be I don't think Verstappen would be happy at Mercedes. I genuinely don't. I think it's the wrong environment for him. I think Red Bull's the wrong environment for him. I mean, it's probably the right environment for him to get.
Where is the right environment? Slightly more technical, slightly more geeky.
No, kind of like a better Red Bull is the best environment for him. Yeah. Like a Red Bull that's.
The problem with Red Bull is that, and we've spoken about this so many times, that Red Bull is like the naughty boys of Formula One. The big personalities. I mean, and actually, Verstappen isn't the big personality. Verstappen isn't a big personality. No. He's actually quite dull.
Yeah.
And he's very good on track. Do not get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But as a personality, he's very dull.
He hates the media side of things. Absolutely.
The media, which Red Bull is all about the media. Like that is literally their thing. Like other.
I would say the atmosphere that he would thrive best in and would suit him best would be an Aston Martin or a McLaren.
Yeah, an Aston Martin, which is slightly quieter.
Yeah, but Aston Martin, they're a bit more. I think he would do better in a non-corporate environment. So Mercedes doesn't really fit. McLaren kind of touch and go. Aston a bit more commercial based. But I think that kind of team, basically Red Bull, but at the pinnacle, because Red Bull aren't at the pinnacle anymore. With Horner says themselves that a lot of their equipments and processes back in Milton Keynes are out of date.
Yeah.
Because it's the same stuff they were using in 2005 when they came in. They built up to 2010 where they had this winning car, but they haven't really improved it since then. They are building a new wind tunnel at the moment because my father-in-law is dealing with with helping design the power station to power the thing. So, well, we knew about it anyway. It's no secret because he said to me, I don't know if I should be telling you this, but I think Red Bull might be building a new wind tunnel because we're drawing up all these plans. They're like, yeah, we know about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, okay.
But it was all very shiny and very cool when they started, but they haven't progressed from there. And I think Aston Martin's going to be the exact same story, and also the new Audi place that they're all banging on about at the moment.
Yeah, I mean,
It's all very shiny.
Aston Martin. Well, it did make me laugh that they said that Lawrence Stroll. We're now on to Aston Martin. Lawrence Stroll said that they're building this new facility, which is going to be incredible, the best in the world. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Adrian Newey rocks up and he says, "Yeah, the driver in loop simulator is about 3 years out of date. It's not good enough. It needs improving. We're going to be a couple of years before we're at the level of the other teams."
Yeah.
And that's with Newey coming from Red Bull, which is not
He's
as up to
behind
date.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, I'm just thinking,
But hang on.
what advice has Stroll been getting?
I do wonder as to bearing in mind that is it actually out of date or is it just not Newey standard? And Newey standard is 10 years out of date. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do wonder.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But apparently,
what's really interesting about the F1 movie is you get to see inside the simulator, which is very cool. I've never seen inside
I am unsure whether that will be inside an actual F1 simulator or an approximation of an F1 simulator. It probably is.
Watch it. I think it's real.
It will probably be close.
Even if it's not real, even if it's approximation, it's very good.
Yeah, I don't think it will be an F1 simulator.
I think it might be McLaren's.
I doubt it. I imagine probably what they've done is they've probably employed someone from a team and then said, "Can you design a 3D model of what a simulator could look like?" And then they've done something
quite interesting
based on that. But yeah, I'm sure it is going to be a close approximation of it based on fact.
Which I've never seen. I've never seen inside one.
There's no way are they going to a McLaren or Mercedes or anything like that. There's no way are they going to allow a film crew into their top secret simulator. No way. But absolutely, yes, design one.
Simulator. The visuals on the actual simulator are old, but the premise of it's very good. So I wonder if it's not exactly the like graphics. Do you know what I mean? But it was
I've done a simulator day. That was amazing fun. Yeah.
Where was that?
That was where was it? It was a very it wasn't like a probably an F1 standard simulator.
Yeah.
But I can't remember exactly what it was. It was in the middle of the countryside somewhere. It was basically in an industrial unit. But it was a full it was a full car, and it was the massive circular screen that goes all around you, and you're completely immersed in it.
Probably that one that you
I would know as soon as I looked.
Does it have like a gallery looking down onto it?
No, it's behind. The gallery's behind. So
okay, so this one has a gallery up above looking down onto it.
Yeah. So, but it is like a full car that lifts up off the ground and moves and like you go across the gravel.
What I am intrigued about is why do they wear helmets in simulators?
Well, because you've
got full helmets. Not full helmets either. If it was the full helmet, it would be because visuals and everything.
Mine was a full helmet.
All right. Again,
you are shaken around quite a lot.
Again, F1 film, don't trust everything you see. Is that they had the sort of cut out ones
the open face helmet,
the open face ones, and I was just like, why the fuck are you?
Well, it's because you've got headphones in your ears, and also you are shaking around quite a lot, so it's potential you could knock your head on the framework. So yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, there we go.
Because it does. Yeah, they can't simulate the G-force. I genuinely think they could simulate the G-force. I don't see why.
Centrifugal force, centrifugal room.
But they could simulate the G-forces.
Oh, could you imagine that you could have a centrifugal spinning room?
Yeah, I mean that would be
the whole screen and the whole room to give you that. Whoa.
That's some next level thinking right there. So anyway, that's Aston Martin, right?
Sorry, I was getting you geeky and excited about technical.
Yeah. Right, Mercedes. George pitted on lap 1. That was a bad decision. Antonelli braked too early.
I don't know what their strategy was going. They just threw the strategy out.
George does this. Have you noticed, George, when he's not winning a race or when he's not up front, he will always try the have a go hero strategy. Sometimes it works.
What was the line? We're
P7.
That's not suicidal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's the engineer said that, wasn't it? We're brave, but we're not suicidal. And then the next lap he was in.
Yeah. So you're suicidal because you've just ended up in 10th. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
mean, where did he finish? He was 10th, wasn't he? Yeah. I was hoping Behrman was going to pass him, but that was never going to happen.
I can understand Alonso, taking a gamble. Where he was. Well, actually, I can't because he was actually higher and he fucked it. I could understand, Ocon or even Snowder taking a gamble, and why they didn't take a gamble on Snowder to really test it out before Hamilton went on. I don't know, but like this whole thing that they went on to slicks so early and completely the strategies just seemed and never has it worked that going on to softs first has ever won you anything. It doesn't work. Think of all the races where if it's slightly damp track, the softs. I think he went on to softs, didn't he? But on the slicks,
Russell went on hards. That's the problem. Russell went on hards. Hamilton went on to softs.
Yeah.
And then a lot of other people went to mediums. I will say it does happen. And when you've got people with the right feel for the conditions and they just judge it perfect, it can win you stuff. Jenson Button in 2011, I know it's a long time ago, but he went from last with about 20 laps to go in Canada to winning the race on the last lap because he went first and he judged the conditions correctly. His tyres were hot. He judged the conditions best. He adapted best to the conditions. Yeah. He had nothing to lose. So why wouldn't you try it? So I get it. But if you make the gamble and it doesn't pay off, you have to accept it and just kind of, just not keep flogging that dead horse.
But it seems to be at the moment that whenever rain is, like, why bother having wet tires? I know I'm back onto this bandwagon, but why bother having them when you're stopping a race? What a waste of energy and CO2 making and carting fucking wet tires around tracks, which they're never using. They never touch. So why bother? I don't think we'll ever see a wet tire ever again.
Well, we will.
When?
But
why?
If
why
they're running,
have a wet tire?
If they're starting a race behind the safety car or restarting a race behind the safety car, then you have to be on full wet tires. So we will see them. I don't think we'll see them raced competitively.
But they just red flagged it when everyone was into intermediates.
No, they didn't red flag it. They pulled safety car, didn't they? They pulled the safety car to bring everyone back together.
The safety car.
Yeah, they pulled the safety car to because the conditions suddenly changed. That then gives people the opportunity to switch to wets if they want to.
Yeah, but
they weren't. No, they weren't. Well, the thing was in that scenario, if the weather was going to continue at the level it was at that moment when they pulled the safety car, the teams would have gone to full wets, but they could see it was going to pass in a few minutes, so there was no point. They're running behind the safety car.
They were never going to go to full wets because there was
I think they would have done
of them fucking red flagging that race like they did on the F3.
I mean, we saw.
I think it was F3.
I've not watched them yet. I've not watched them yet. I haven't had time. But
but they red flagged it on F3 or F4.
We saw full wets in Monaco last year, was the year before?
Sorry.
Was the year before?
All right, we're now 2 years ago. We saw full wets.
But either way, we won't see them a lot. And the problem is, it's not so much the tires; it's the spray. And that is a consequence of this ground effect era, where because the underbody is so crucial to the aerodynamics and it's throwing up so much water.
Change. I know they were talking.
It will get better.
Spray deflectors and things.
Yeah, nothing that they've trialed has had a good enough impact to roll out. Yeah. But it will get better next year. There will still be ground effect because every Formula One car has ground effect. But unless you go to completely flat bottom cars and you say they have to be completely flat bottomed, you're still going to get the spray. Even with that, you're still going to get the spray off the tires. That's the problem.
It's the spray that's the thing. So why bother? Why not just red flag it until the spray and then get the fucking sweepers out? And at least reduce the spray. It's getting pointless to carry wet tires around, which no one's using, and we watch everyone just slip sliding and have how many safety cars and yellow flags did we have in this race? It's just getting boring. Actually, this race was boring for a long while.
I disagree.
What with all the
there was some spells of VSC and safety car, but there was only about 10 laps behind the safety car. That's only 1/5 race distance. So that's more than what you want, but it's still it bunched the field up. And it utilised different situations. It added strategic variance because it meant people were able to pit out sequence.
Not race in the rain. They have a red flag, and I go and make a fucking coffee. Like literally, what is the point of watching cars follow around?
I would love to see some kind of apparatus.
Because of the rain, not because of an accident and they're having to clear something. Yeah. Because of rain.
Well, it's all safety, isn't it? I think, but I would love to.
Okay, then just cool it and kill it.
I would love to see some kind of technology developed where when you fit tires on, wet tires on, there's something attached to those tires which then changes the aerodynamics to the point where like it's like a kit. There's something maybe that goes over the wet tires. So when you fit them, it might mean
like
longer
a
pit stops.
mud cover,
Yeah, something like that. But just something to take that spray away. Yes, it'll affect the aerodynamics because of the change in conditions, the change of apparatus, the obviously extra weight on the wheels and everything. But in the rain, that's kind of a consequence. You have to do it. I would love to see something like that come in, so that when you fit these intermediates and wet tires, something just reduces that spray and just then funnels it out to the side. Yes, it means that offline it's going to be wetter than online, but that's fine. It's not going in the air. That's the problem. If you can find some way of stopping that spray going in the air.
It was Antonelli, wasn't it, that crashed?
Yeah, and broke
earlier.
slightly earlier.
To be fair, you watch it, you can, I mean, obviously cameras are slightly different to personal eyes, but you can not see fuck all, and suddenly that red light did suddenly appear, and that's only, and those red lights are only working, are they on
in wet conditions? They're flashing all the time.
But is that, at what point do they come on? Is that like as soon as the
climate changes? As soon as the climate changes, they're mandated. I think they happen automatically. So I think when
almost when DRS is turned off, or is that when? Who deems that? Like, I'm intrigued as to what.
The honest answer is I don't know. It may be that when DRS is disabled, it's an automated system. It may be that it's a manual thing that happens when the track is declared wet. It might be that a setting that the pit wall does to the car, because that kind of telemetry is allowed. That kind of two-way telemetry is allowed.
Yeah.
So it might be. The honest answer is I don't know. But
because I do wonder, was that red light even working? Because it did suddenly appear, but also, is it that they were turning a corner? I have no idea where on the track they were, because you can.
It happened. It happens. You know the old National Pit Straight going into Copse Corner.
Yeah,
that's where it happened.
Okay.
So
was it
Antonelli braked for Copse?
Slight angle.
Antonelli, no. Well, it's a kind of a curve, but that part of it is straight. So it happened in the braking zone for Copse. I think it was just the amount of spray in the air completely obscured the light, and then as Antonelli is braking, then who's it went at the back of him? Can't remember now. Hadjar then, because Antonelli's braking, Hadjar's going to move so much distance in that time that just that distance between lights flashing, all of a sudden it appears, because he's moved forward 50 meters in that second.
Yeah.
Between braking and when he brakes. So he probably only braked a second or two later than Antonelli, but because of that, because Antonelli's been a bit more cautious, you can understand why. It's horrific conditions. And he's just got at the back of him. Couldn't see him. It's like, you're 100% right. Like, maybe Hadjar could have braked a little bit earlier due to the conditions, but he's still trying to figure out his way around as well.
Yeah, where is, like, he doesn't know exactly where he is.
Shock horror is a soaking wet track, and rookies crash into each other. Okay. I don't think it needs analysing.
It was only rookies that left the track.
Colapinto didn't start because of the damage from the crash in qualifying. I think he went to the grid, but then came into the pit, so they wouldn't fire up. So he didn't start.
So is Colapinto gone? Do you reckon?
I don't know. I know. I think this is probably positioning from Flavio Briatore to be like, hey, all you wonderful sponsors that have come in for Colapinto, he's not doing very well. I think you're going to have to pay a bit more if you want me to keep him in that car.
Yeah.
I think it's more that. And then if that money doesn't come, then he may well then say, okay, let's give Bottas a go, but we'll keep Colapinto on a leash and bring him back in if it doesn't work with Bottas. But to be honest, I mean, I don't agree with this, but if I was Flavio, if he's going to go down that line, he could probably get just
team principal now.
Yeah, he could probably get just as much money from Sergio Perez as he's getting from Colapinto, and he would get a lot more experience. So, like, if I'm Flavio, I'm putting Perez in.
Yeah,
I know people who think that I absolutely hate Perez think I'm doing a massive backpedal here, but I'm not. Like, I've never hated Perez.
No,
it's just been I hated what was happening in the Red Bull.
But
I just hated what was happening in the Red Bull with Perez because it just didn't make sense. I mean, I wanted it to carry on as long as possible. I found it funny, but I don't know. I think they'll give him till the summer break. I think he's got 2 more races. If he doesn't score any points in the next 2 races, then Flavio will pull the trigger.
Okay.
Lawson, obviously, just dropped it. Bortoleto just dropped it. Hadjar went out the back of Antonelli. So Antonelli, again, just like in Australia, probably would have been the only rookie to make it to the end of the race. But
what about Behrman?
Behrman did make it, didn't he? But again, he did still make some mistakes. So,
which is fair. I think Behrman was very quick when he was going.
Yeah, he had a really good weekend, but just a few key errors. Like that mistake in qualifying was... actually, Behrman did finish in Australia as well. He was last. He did finish. But yeah, it was Behrman and Antonelli in Australia as well. Yeah. Exactly the same retirements, apart from swap out Colapinto for Doohan.
Yeah.
So I've just checked back on the spreadsheet.
Behrman, I think Behrman is the future Ferrari.
I genuinely think, he's definitely... He needs to keep doing what he's doing and just iron out the mistakes. He's made a few rookie errors in the last few races, and Ocon's experience has paid dividends. But yeah, I can see him replacing one of the Ferrari drivers in the next couple of years.
I can see. Once Hamilton retires, or I don't think Hamilton.
I'm not. Do you know what? This is going to be controversial. Years. I am not convinced who is going to be at Ferrari longer, Leclerc or Hamilton. I don't know.
Where's Leclerc going to go? There's nowhere for him to go, really.
Red Bull? If Verstappen goes to Mercedes, why would you not be contacting to find out about the availability of Leclerc?
So, hang on. In your world, Verstappen goes to Mercedes, Leclerc goes to Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
Behrman goes into that seat.
Mm-hmm.
And Russell, who is currently
replaces
fourth or fifth in
replaces Fernando Alonso
in the Aston.
Yeah.
Okay.
And who fucks off to Alpine for one last year with Flavio Briatore.
Oh yeah, that old friendship.
I can see it. This is a crazy, crazy scenario. And to be honest, it's only just coming to my head now. Literally, I hadn't pre-thought this before the podcast.
Alonso, hang on. So Alonso goes to where?
Alonso is gone. Alonso Alpine.
No.
So we got a Gasly Alonso pairing at Alpine for 2026.
Okay, so who else is at Alpine at the moment? Oh, Colapinto.
Yeah.
Which we don't know about.
Yeah.
So he goes back to being a test driver and no one cares about him. What about Stroll? Is he going to stay?
He's still there. He's still there.
I don't think. I think he's on the way out, not because of Daddy's money. I think he's just over it, and his hand is too injured now.
He does get a bit bad time taking a sip of water. He does. Yeah, I've completely lost my train of thought. I don't think he wants it as much, but he gets. That's what I was going to say. I think he's fed up for people asking the questions about, do you still want to do this or that kind of thing.
It's not a matter that he doesn't want to do it, but I think his body doesn't want him to do it anymore.
Maybe.
And that's a genuine thing, that actually he's too ruined with that hand.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, they said he's made a full recovery, so...
Yeah, but they said that last time and he ended up having to leave. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's something to continue following anyway.
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't think he's... And do you think Sainz stays at Williams at the moment?
Yeah, I think he's there for 2 seasons. And then depending on where Williams are in 26, he'll make a decision. I think that's the best place for him. I think they're going to be pushing for podiums in 27, maybe 26. I think will be a bit soon. I think there'll be solid points.
Well, the problem is 26 is a complete unknown. No one knows, and watch, McLaren might not be there in 26. But who knows where this car is in 26? Because there's so many differences. You watch. Audi could jump. Cadillac could suddenly come in on fucking.
I'm more confident in Audi than I was.
And we didn't even talk about the fact that Cadillac is coming in. So there's 2 extra spaces already there.
Yeah, but Cadillac will be at the back.
Yeah, but there's still 2 driver spaces.
Yeah, so they may well end up taking a Colapinto or something like that. But I think their drivers are probably going to be. I reckon they might end up being Bottas and Perez.
I mean, that's an old team.
It is, but it's the experience to get them started.
Yeah.
It may only be for 1 season, but those 2 to get things started, then bring in an exciting rookie. Yeah. But Colton Herta's not had a good season in IndyCar, so he's still not going to get the super license points. Now, I know it's frustrating because IndyCar is an incredibly is an incredibly competent formula, and there's lots and lots of talent in there, and there's a lot of competition for places. But my argument is now, if Colton Herta is that good, then he should be closer to winning that championship than he is. And to not in 5 years have been able to generate enough super license points in the last 5 years to get a super license. He's not finished in the top, 6 of the championship in that time. Like, I'm sorry, I know it's a competitive formula, but when you've got 45-year-olds winning races and finishing the top 3 every year, I know Scott Dixon's an incredible talent, but when you've got people like that winning and beating you every year, I don't think you're good enough for Formula One.
No, I don't think the only thing they'll do is trying to put an American driver, but I mean they could go.
Well, then I would put in Kirkwood. I would put in Kirkwood.
Logan Sargent.
Oh, something's wrong with my headphones again.
No. Hello.
Yep, even though they're plugged in, they've completely died. So I currently can't hear you. So I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to move to ambient because I can't hear you at all. So
Logan Sargent.
That's going to be weird.
So
just Phil for a moment. I still can't hear you.
He's still. So anyway, I think like they want an American in there just because of biased, but I think an American in it would be interesting. I think it would be.
I'm back.
I think like. Do we need an American in there? Oh yeah, this got me confused and thinking, why have we got 2 Spanish Grand Prix next year and no German Grand Prix?
Well, there's no German Grand Prix because there's no backing for it, and we've only got a Spanish.
Sorry, we've now got Audi in the fucking mix.
Yeah, we've got no backing for a Grand Prix though.
What do you mean by that?
The German government won't back it, and there's not enough. There's not enough commercial interest in the German Grand Prix. There's not enough people that want to go to it, basically.
Okay.
Like, I would love for there to be a return to Hockenheim or even to the Nürburgring circuit. I love that Turn 1 in Nürburgring. I think that would be a really, really good track to bring back to F1. We had it in COVID, and I think it would be great. I'd love to see a German Grand Prix come back on the calendar, but there's just no interest for it from commercially or from the circuits or the government. So it's just not going to happen at the moment. I look really weird without headphones on. It's
you
annoying.
Do. Weirdly, you don't sound too different, but I bet I do.
Well, yeah, the sound will be no different from your perspective, but I'm just hoping that I've got you nice and quiet, so hopefully it won't come over my microphone, so we don't get.
I'm not hearing anything back. So
okay, that's good. All right.
Right, I'd like that. With Audi, and I've heard Mick Schumacher's rolling around Audi, so I wonder if he's going into there.
Well, they've got their driver lineup for next year. I think I'm pretty sure Bortoletto's on a 2-year deal. That was a condition of being released from McLaren that he gets a 2-year deal, and Hulkenberg is on at least a 2-year deal. So
which ticks the German box.
Yeah, so they're done for next season.
Okay.
That's the Audi lineup for next season. I'm pretty sure. I have to double check on Bortoletto, but I'm pretty sure. And Bortoletto's doing well enough. Bortoletto's having a really good season.
I don't think he's doing bad at all. Like
he's close to Hulkenberg. He's better than Hulkenberg in qualifying and getting better in the races. By the end of the year, I think he'll be at the level they need, and next year he'll have a good year.
He's 19. He's last up, and he's last of the. Yeah, I've stayed in a team.
Yeah, well, but
he's also in a Kick Sauber. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, which is now improved, but he hasn't quite got the race maturity to be getting the results that Hulkenberg is. But he will do. He'll get closer. But the championship is really interesting now with Sauber up to 6th, 41 points now. So they're closing on Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, I had Alpine as the team that were going to take it to Williams. They looked really quick pre-season, but it just hasn't transpired. I now think that Alpine will finish last. I didn't think they would, but it's going to be between Alpine and Haas for last. I mean, because Aston Martin are looking strong, Racing Bulls are looking strong, and Sauber looking strong. Williams less so. So Williams will begin to drop. I think it's really Williams' fight is probably now between Racing Bulls and Aston Martin.
Yeah, to be fair, Williams is doing really well. I mean, they've had some shit.
Last 4 races have been terrible.
Yeah. But I don't, I think some of that is just how it's played out as opposed to anything. I mean, the last one they had with 2 DNFs purely for manufacturing errors. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, they've had some really bad weekends, which meant they've picked up hardly any points. I think Albon hasn't finished the last 4 races, has he? Something like Jesus. That. Did he finish at the weekend? I don't think he did.
No. Oh yeah, he did.
No, he did. Where did he finish? Hang on. Oh, you finished 8th. Yeah, so we got some points. Got 4
some
points for
points.
Williams. That's his first finish in 4 races.
Yeah, but like I oh, hang on, I'm just trying to I think like Albon is my only chance of not getting naked, but I think it's too far.
Yeah, I don't think Albon's going to be getting.
My only hope is that Albon wins and Antonelli.
No, I tell you who your best hope. I tell you, do you know who your best hope? Who your best hope
Please
is?
don't say Hulk.
Yes, it's Hulkenberg. Look, he's 9 points behind Albon.
Yeah,
9 points behind Albon. And look at how many points Sauber have scored in the last few races compared to even Mercedes. Like Hulkenberg is your shot. There is a genuine chance that Hulkenberg could finish ahead of Antonelli. And if that happens, you are saved.
I am saved. It's
and it's me. You'll have to be naked.
It's tight though. Well, we did predict correctly, both of us, that he would be around 7th or 8th.
Yeah, you know, it's still decent, but
it's touch and go. And I still don't think look, I don't mind Antonelli now. I think he's a good driver. I mean, he's awkward as fuck, and any press stuff, and he's not maturely there at all. But I just, yeah, it is. The Hulk and Albon are my 2 chances. I mean, it's still a bit of a way off, but some odd wins and Antonelli spinning offs, you know, some odd high points and Antonelli spinning offs, and it all changes quite quickly there.
Yeah, I'm just looking at our predictions, and we both have Sauber finishing 10th.
Well, that's not happening.
No, I've got Williams finishing 5th. No, you've got Williams finishing 5th. I've got Alpine finishing 5th. We've basically 5th and 6th.
So I'm quite good at the moment.
Well, you're not going to get Alpine finishing 5th, but we're at the moment we've got.
I have Williams.
We both had Ferrari, McLaren 1-2. So we're both wrong in that. I reckon it'll be McLaren, Ferrari, not Ferrari, McLaren. And then Red Bull, Merc. I've got Red Bull, Merc. You've got Merc, Red Bull. So I think you're going to be
right.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. Like you'll probably get 4 out of the top. You'll probably get you'll probably get 3rd and 4th correct.
Yeah.
I don't think Williams is going to come 5th. That's going to be my saving grace.
No, Williams, I think, will come 5th. We've still got Sainz, and we still got Albon.
I think it'll be Sauber now. But there we go. Cool. Right. Should we do driver of the day?
I mean, there's only one person, really.
I don't know. There's lots.
Oh, no. I'm going to go with the public consensus and go with Hulk. Like, I think from that position, did a great drive, safe drive, didn't fuck up. You know.
All of those things are true, which is exactly the same for Lando Norris. But he didn't have the pace of his teammate, so I can't give it to Norris.
He didn't.
I'll give it to Norris because he didn't have the pace of his teammate, not for the whole race. So if he'd have passed him on track, then Norris.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, looking through the list,
I mean, who do you give Dick of the Day to?
You could argue for driver of the day.
Sorry, yeah, go on. Driver.
You could argue potentially Pierre Gasly. You can make an argument for that. You could make an argument for not really anyone else. I'll stick with
I'll
stick with Hulkenberg.
Yeah, you could go with you could even put an argument for the Team Alpine, Team Aston Martin as well.
For the team, not for the drivers.
Or Hamilton. But
no, Hamilton made too many mistakes, I think. Yeah. If Hamilton had got on the podium and not gone off track at the start of that stint on the soft tyres, then I'd say
yeah.
But no, I think he made too many errors. Dick of the day?
I mean, Piastri?
Yeah.
Like there's no real, people spun off, people had accents. That's different from Dick moves.
Yeah, but for me,
his was the biggest Dick move.
The error, his reaction to the error, and then the request for the team to switch the positions.
That was
that for me.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're in agreement because I thought I was going to come off as really one-sided and rose-tinted glasses for my boy Norris, but
no, I think he was Dick of the Day. Although at the moment, and although we have a dog who's called Lando Norris, Laura is supporting Piastri more than Norris.
Of course she is.
And I'm just like, why?
Because there's a buzz around Norris
Yeah.
because of his nationality. So when you watch the Sky coverage, it's all Lando. And Oscar Piastri is such a nice guy that you think, well, why doesn't Piastri get the love? So I fully get that people are going to be behind Piastri because of the way the Sky coverage covers Lando Norris.
Yeah.
He's an incredibly well-supported driver, very well liked. And then he's winning races now. So, and before the season started, everyone was saying this is Lando Norris's championship. So I get it. And I like Piastri as a person, but I want Norris to win the championship, obviously. But yeah,
I wouldn't be upset if Piastri won. As long as, I'm McLaren first, then the driver second. Do you know what I mean? And weirdly, I'd probably be McLaren first, Williams second, and then the drivers.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the forecast now for the Constructors' Championship, it's 15 points a race Ferrari need to outscore McLaren by to beat them.
Yeah, that's
15 points a race weekend. We've still got 4 sprints to go, but 15 points per race weekend. I don't think they're going to do that. It's 19 points per race weekend for Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
In the battle for the championship, Max Verstappen needs.
So Mercedes could jump Ferrari.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Of course they could. But in the race for between third and first, so Verstappen and Piastri, it's 5 points a weekend. Verstappen will need 4.6 points per weekend. Verstappen needs to catch Piastri, and George Russell needs 6 points a weekend. So already it's between Norris and Piastri. 0.53, just half a point a weekend. Norris needs just over half a point a weekend. He needs.
So he just needs to get above him.
Also, I kind of want this to happen. If Norris wins in Spa and wins the sprint with Piastri coming home in second in both, they go into the summer break completely tied.
Oh, wow.
Not summer break. So we've then got, we've still got.
No, we've got one more. Budapest,
yeah. Okay, maybe I don't. I want them to be tied going into Budapest.
Okay.
How can that work? Okay, they both retire from Hungary. There we go. Done.
Yeah. Done. I think there is a chance still that Red Bull could end up beating Ferrari. I mean, slim.
Yeah, slim. I mean, Red Bull, the second, third, and fourth, they're separated by 40 points. So that's still a fight. It's 113 points back to Williams from Red Bull. So Williams ain't scoring 113 points in the second half of the season on their own. Like they're not going to. They'll be lucky to score another 60 points. Williams.
Yeah.
So their fight is with behind. They're just going to be looking over their shoulder, trying to maximise as much as possible. So it's teeing up nicely. Sprint in the next weekend, which is in 2-3 weeks' time, something like that. And then we've got Budapest and then the summer break. So I think we should probably wrap it up there because I've got to go and watch the F1 movie. So
nice. Go and enjoy it. Let me know what you think of it.
Will do. Okay.
All right.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks again. Live chat and number one, Owain. Cheers.
How is this still number one?
Oh, are you here? Cool. I'm assuming that the outro has finished because the bars have just gone to zero.
I've got more points on YouTube than Williams have. 75 points.
Nice.
There we go.
Cool. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks, live stream. Bye.